Hey guys, and welcome to part 1 to What If Naruto became Hiruzen's personal maid for 4 years. And yeah, I sort of wanted to do this like for the last 2 weeks of December, so that you guys would have this to watch whilst I sort of have a break, as it'd be pre-recorded. But I decided instead to screw it and do it now, as it could be good. You guys could love it, you guys could hate it, so I'm doing it now instead. And yeah, also actually I don't think there's anything else to add, so yeah, let's get into this. So it'd be it'd be 8 years old, as it'd be a month prior to the gaining sort exams, or pretty much a summer holiday for him for about 6 weeks. And so it'd be thinking of a potential way to get the old man to agree to a challenge. In other words, wanted to beat the fighting chance so he could, get jutsu. And yeah. So hey, if I win, then you have to give me something, or maybe do something, and then if I lose, that kind of deal. And yeah, and he'd been trying for some time now, for at least a year or two, if not slightly, for about a year, to get Hiruzen to agree to one, so that he could, get jutsu from him, a hopefully really good jutsu. And yeah, and as you'd somewhat think, he'd somewhat as someone who'd try and rack his brain for ideas, he'd eventually just sigh and would just decide that he'd somewhat just say it bluntly and hope it would work for the 10th maybe time he's tried and failed. So yeah, he'd then head off to the Hokage's office, building / office, and once he'd somewhat arrive after about 5 or so minutes, he'd walk in. For him at least, that was somewhat no need to knock. He never did anyway. And yeah, so just somewhat opening the door, he would look up to wonder who'd barge in, as there was, in a sense, 4 different people. For one, it could be what's his name? His old, his whole team, which would encompass 3 people, and then there's Naruto. Granted, he could also think of one other person, but he tended to use windows instead. But you could have had a change of heart today and decided to go through a door, but to his knowledge, he was still outside the village, so yeah, it was highly unlikely he'd be coming back any time soon. And yeah, though he wouldn't have to ponder much more, as he'd go, Naruto, how can I help you? Somewhat, I challenge you to this, what would it be? No, I haven't thought of this part. I tended to skip this part. What would he agree? What would Naruto try and get him to do? Think, rock, paper, scissors. And Hiruzen would crack an eyebrow, and if I win, you have to give me a jutsu. Got it. And Hiruzen would just crack an eyebrow in amusement, as he just stare at Naruto, as he'd wonder, he'd just sigh and go, Naruto, I've already told you many times, and he'd start kind of like just he'd first ask, well, if I agree, what would I get in return if I were to win and thus you were to lose? And yeah, he was in mid-wait for a few minutes before saying that he was, like, there was somewhat no point, and like somewhat no before you could actually say no. Naruto would start pretty much just speaking fast and pretty much just throwing out what he could potentially do. And yeah, and just as Hiruzen was somewhat about to kind of cut him off, stop him, Naruto had stated his maid, his personal maid. And yeah, that would kind of cause Hiruzen to think momentarily, though, as Naruto was about to ramble off once more about some other things, he'd put his hand up and would tell him to quiet down, and that he was thinking. Naruto would somewhat do so and would take in similarly a large gulp of breath. And yeah, though Hiruzen would somewhat close his eyes, rubbing his chin as he'd think about the kind of personal maid offer. And yeah, though Naruto would end up saying that if he wanted him to be his personal maid, he'd do it for a year. And yeah, and so Hiruzen would somewhat mentally be thinking, well, if I were to accept her as a maid, well, or at least as my somewhat maid, granted I don't have any, but if I were a personal one, for one, he'd be out of the academy for a year, but in a way that would be good, as I'd be able to indirectly train him. And yeah, after all, they wouldn't think for one that would be somewhat maid. After all, if I were to sort to do butler and Naruto were to vanish, then well, there was a chance that he was that butler, but to my knowledge anyway, he's still very bad at doing, or at least he's bad at doing male transformation, so it somewhat makes sense he'd do female if he can, which I presume he can, as he stated he's decided to become a maid instead of a butler, so yeah, that, and it would also help him to kind of blend in. He's not exactly the most subtle people, whilst his staff abilities are great if he could somewhat learn to not stick out as much and to be able to blend in seamlessly and vanish from in front of you, though while still being in front of you, then well, yeah, it would be that much more dangerous. But then there comes the issue of if he disappears for a year and then comes back, they're going to expect him to, have gotten stronger, and that whilst he may have slightly due to somewhat training, but yeah, granted he'd also get somewhat smarter, as I could get him to read as well. And yeah, and then the course that would be 9 when he'd return, and then he'd be 10 and he'd be able to potentially graduate if I'd be able to go, as if I focus my training mainly on getting him to the ability to be able to graduate the class, then he'd have to be, well, yeah, then I'd suspect that he'd have to, he'd be at that ability, and if he were to fail, well, then what had he been doing for the year? Though, in a way, that could all be solved if I somewhat kind of get him to agree to do it for 4 years instead, as then I'd be able to most certainly do it, but better yet, I'll be able to customize the actual somewhat gaining exam to what it'd be good at, due to the simple fact that, well, he'd been going for 4 years and under a shinobi like say outside the village, and as Jiraiya so happens to be outside the village, well, that's a perfect alibi. Plus, Jiraiya would have to do at least something to help his godson out, even if it's just a lie, he'd run with it. Or at least he better. And, yeah. Well, so I would look at Naruto as he'd go, well, how about instead of a year as my maid, you'd be 4, but what about the academy? And so I know by the time you'd return you'd be 12, but let's put it this way, Naruto. If you become my personal maid for 4 years, then I'll customize your graduation a bit so you'll be able to pass, okay? Really? Yes. And seeing as it's about a month prior to, or at least a month before the summer review to sort of agree, then, well, I'll accept your challenge, and yeah. But if I were to win, of course you'd be out of the academy for 4 years, well, or at least starting sort of today, right now, as you'd be sort of in training period. And yeah, I did think it over, though he'd think it over the pros and negatives, and well, sometimes he would have to, do whatever mates do or that, which he roughly knew as looking after someone or that. And yeah, he'd shrug as he'd go, well, okay then. He would nod as he would then proceed to pull out a piece of paper and would start writing down. That would be confused, and he'd ask what he was doing, to which he was going to state that it was in a way somewhat written contract. It was what we just somewhat agreed upon. And yeah, it just somewhat means if say you're to win and I don't hold up my end of the deal, you could go to the fire daimyo and he can force me to give you jutsu, and if I still want to do so, I could be jailed or executed for breaking the somewhat agreed upon contract. And likewise, a similar deal with you if you were to try and get if you were to try and void your end of it. Which he'd just go, oh, okay. And yeah. And so from there, once Hiruzen would kind of finish it up, he'd tell Naruto to write his name down, to which he would. And from there, they would play a couple of rounds of somewhat rock, paper, scissors, and then a different challenge entirely, to which Naruto would point out to Hiruzen that they never agreed upon how many challenges that they would do. And that was true, but Hiruzen would point out that he was also busy, so he couldn't do really, much more. He couldn't spend the day with him. And yeah. So they would do somewhat, or at least 2 more different challenges, and with Hiruzen pretty much winning them, though you did notice the ones that involved a form of luck, Naruto seemed to do better at. And yeah, a lot better in fact. And yeah, anyway, though Naruto would sort of say, and yeah, though Hiruzen would sort of tell him though that, of course, the agreement would start somewhat right now, and that he'd be pretty much training for 3 weeks. Though Naruto would ask why 3, as he'd state that, while in 4 years you'd then have somewhat a week before the graduation to get used to yourself again. After all, you'll be a woman for the next 4 years, Naruto. you're probably going to need at the very minimum a week to get used to your body again. And yeah, though that does bring me on to a next question. Sorry, it's not going. That is on man. Do you know of somewhat, or at least the ability to lock the transformation? Now, to lock the transformation, huh? What do you mean by that? Well, it's pretty much something you go through the normal stats of hand size, but you had on one extra. That one extra pretty much, or at least somewhat say, when you somewhat to lock the transformation, when you were to transform using the hand seals plus that extra one, what it would do would be that would make, or at least that it would make that your new kind of base for however long you decide, be it a day, a week, a month, a year, or until you decide to do a certain specific type of set of hand signs to release it, as it's different to the normal release, as then you can do another transformation on top of it, and you can then release, and it won't, like, you'll revert back into your transformed self that you locked yourself into. And yeah, though the only time it does disperse, release, is if your chakra were to suddenly drain, like plummet, kind of suddenly, if you're like in battle or that, and have to go, yeah, that kind of would be nice to know if you about a kind of couple months ago, as Hiruzen would crack an eyebrow as it go, as noted that he'd forgotten the hand signs by now. He's like, I've gotten the hand signs or hand signed for it, but I kind of I couldn't sort of de-transform from kind of being somewhat a I transformed myself into a kunai, or at least I was trying to transform myself into an inanimate object. Well, somewhat a kunai, and I kind of managed to succeed in doing so, but I couldn't really release it, and I could only transform myself back, and after some time I managed to release it. And yeah, as soon as go, I see, well, at least this time, or at least somewhat when the Ambu, or at least this time when Ambu will show you how to do it, and this time it'll be, you'll somewhat be able to actually, you won't be, stuck in a, and yeah, you'd kind of nod, and yeah, they'd somewhat call his Ambu, and, or at least they'd go, leopard, to which leopard drop down, being of course within the office, to which he'd sort of tell her that she'd be kind of teaching Naruto for the next 3 weeks how to be a somewhat proper maid, and to do it kind of out of the village. And yeah, Naruto would kind of ask her why, to which she'd before Hiruzen could actually answer, she'd go, so that Naruto, it looked like you've sort of left, the village to go to, like with a shinobi to maybe, or at least an Ambu to meet up with a shinobi that would be training you, say, for 4 years. And yeah, and you'll be somewhat coming back in, but as the somewhat maid, which would somewhat put everyone on, somewhat take the and kind of a lot, something as if, a random, maid popped up that nobody noticed, would be kind of, a bit weird, and a lot of people would, kind of be somewhat wondering who it may be, and if it was a shinobi or someone like that. So yeah, that would be suspicious. And yeah, now they'd go, and yeah, though then you'd go, wait, but what are you going to do to my old apartment, you'd go, well, because you pretty much, well, in the way you still, well, because you somewhat be, because somewhat being a maid and all, you be living somewhat in the same home as me, granted different room, somewhat your apartment, I was somewhat thinking of kind of somewhat selling it, but when you, of course, when somewhat the, when you somewhat once more, or at least become, you know, once our agreement comes to its end, you'll get your own like apartment again, but it'll be a lot more up to date one, and one in which shouldn't be in a kind of hopefully one that, well, if stuff break, that'll be actually fixed. Okay, to which that would somewhat nod, and yeah. Though, and so from there, yeah, you'd pretty much, though he'd end up kind of somewhat, though the somewhat Ambu that with him would let him go to, you know, go somewhat, the only other somewhat people pretty much that cared for him, which was and he'd tell them that he'd be kind of gone for 4 years, and you know, it'd be somewhat training and that, and when he comes back he'll be, you know, become like a shinobi, and yeah, they would somewhat, you know, tell him to of course be safe and that, and to also kind of sort of have fun and that, and yeah, but also, you know, to, you know, listen and that, and yeah. Anyway, and yeah, so after that, and after giving him like 3 bowl of ramen, they'd go, and yeah, and from there they would somewhat proceed to kind of leave the somewhat village, and the next somewhat 3 weeks would kind of be somewhat, well, it would be something interesting, as the Ambu kind of learnt in a way kind of how Naruto somewhat learnt. Naruto learnt more by doing, less by kind of sitting, and somewhat instead of, you know, sitting and being told how you're meant to act, it'd be best to kind of be like, you know, show, you know, let him somewhat act how he thought was correct, and then correct those things, and like drill it kind of, you know, like a mix of both, though he preferred is one that like by doing, and yeah. Anyway, though, and yeah, minus he still wasn't exactly perfect. He was decent, and yeah. That's of course something they'd already for, or at least they'd sort of, well, the first, or at least 2 days they'd spent trying to figure out a female name for him, which they already see the female Ambu had somewhat had decided on somewhat Rosary, to which Naruto, you know, kind of agree to Rose or Rosary, and yeah, and somewhat as such Rosary would be a somewhat ginger, a kind of somewhat blondish, gingery, somewhat had creamy white skinned, and damn it, I forgot the eye colour. I know the eye colour, I can't think of what it's called. Damn it. It's not blue. I know that much. Yeah, so we'd have also a hazel blonde eye colour, and yeah, someone would also have someone hair, or at least mid-length long hair, and yeah, though, so, and yeah, of course once they'd somewhat, yeah, that also a C-cup sized chest at a height of 5'5", and yeah, and somewhat, yeah, though from there, though, of course they'd somewhat be walking, you know, somewhat into the village, as well they had gone find out that they actually, well, at least science, the female Ambu did kind of come back once they kind of got down Naruto's size and that, all these rosary sort of size and that, and had gotten the sort of French maid outfit, about 14 of them, so one a day for 2 weeks and that. So after the first week was done, she'd wash the first, she'd wash those, and we'd have another, 7 still left to go. And yeah. Anyway, so after, of course, you wouldn't be walking in, in a maid outfit. Would be walking in more, in slightly some comfortable clothes, somewhat. And yeah, though, because someone walking in that, and yeah, it was also, or at least somewhat about. Well, yeah, it was about somewhat. The sun was already kind of slowly starting to set as they, or at least mainly had been kind of walking naturally back from where they'd pretty much where she'd been training Naruto / Rosary for the past 3 weeks. And yeah, though eventually they'd arrive at the further guy sort of home, to which she'd sort of the female Ambun in I've already forgot Lapid would someone knock on the door, to which a few seconds would go by as somewhat, or at least with Hiruzen be somewhat reading somewhat a book, as you'd sort of know that today was the day that Naruto would be back, but as his personal maid for 4 years, that would definitely have to get used to. Of course, he had another somewhat Ambu female, different female Ambu, of course, do somewhat the kind of set up a room in his somewhat home, the somewhat spare bedroom, as he had a few spare rooms, somewhat set up to be relatively plain in that. And yeah, though at the moment he was somewhat kind of, he was somewhat, nighted already, had some dinner and that, and he was just somewhat sitting down, kind of reading through some books, as he'd hear a knock at the door, and though he'd presume that, it was them, or Naruto at the very least, Naruto at the very least, and at the most somewhat lapid with Naruto. Yeah, so he'd get up, putting his book down and stretching his back. And from there he'd somewhat walk, and though as he'd get into the passageway, he'd somewhat he'd say somewhat loud enough for the people on the other side of the door would sort of know that he'd be coming. And from there, of course, he'd go and open the door to it. So he'd Lapid-chan. Assume everything is well. As he'd be slightly concerned the fact that Naruto wasn't initially there, to which she'd nod and she'd go, hi, Hokai-san, I'm somewhat here to kind of drop off your, Rosary-chan. Somewhat Rosary here. He'd be momentarily confused, to which he'd sort of click that, or at least, he'd be confused up until someone he'd see whom was seemingly sort of Rosary, to which he'd immediately realise that was Naruto's female name. And those somewhat, of course, somewhat all fires of somewhat, body wanted to, say old man, hi there old man, or, just something about, to say old man, and kind of like, greet him normally, but she'd somewhat bow, which would be somewhat robotically, somewhat, and slightly, of course, the slightly, it'd be, a slight uncomfortable, similarly bow, as she'd, sort of, go, so it's nice to meet you, master. And yeah, that would somewhat feel kind of Hiruzen somewhat back into kind of realise that that was another thing you'd have to get used to. Not only that you'd have a personal maid now for the next 4 years, but you'd have to get used to, like, granted he had thought of potentially kind of trying to get to Naruto to call him something else, but well, yeah, it was either that or probably something Lord or something else, but Naruto was a personal maid, thus the only word she could technically use, or at least the only word she could use, would be master, as that's what he was to a master. If he was just a maid, maid of the house, then he would be called Lord, not Master. Anyway, though, though he'd somewhat step aside as he'd welcome the both in, to which the both would come in with the female, with Leopard easily, while taking off her shoes relatively quickly, with somewhat Rosary kind of sitting down, take hers off, though once she did, she'd go back up to it. And though Hiruzen would show them, or at least Rosary, somewhat throughout their house once he shut the front door. And though somewhat after showing her around that, she'd go and, kind of drop off her stuff and that. And and kind of just sort of unpacking that and put stuff away. And doing something at that time, Hiruzen would be in in his living room with Leopard, as she'd be talking to Hiruzen about what seemingly Rosary / Naruto still needed to very much work on, which was practically everything, and that she did have a book about how to be a what it was to be a personal maid and that, and a skill a maid, and a few books such as the skills a maid should possess, and somewhat what a personal maid is and what it means to be one. And though she'd stay no, or because that's back, what would be a job to which Hiruzen would state kind of, or at least somewhat, if she's somewhat, or at least for the first week or two, her somewhat kind of normal duties of protecting him. But after about somewhat a week or so, somewhat you'd suspect that Rosary would start to kind of, maybe spend more time, at home, potentially cleaning, dusting, washing, and, other somewhat kind of stuff to keep ahead of, the somewhat work and that. And, to which she'd nod into that during, that time when we are separated. You'd be watching, you'd be kind of protecting her eyes while she is, of course, kind of getting in. Or while I'm an academy student, whilst Naruto is an academy student, technically shouldn't, or at least, hasn't necessarily, wouldn't be able to really, protect himself if, a person really did try. As, according to the academy records, he's dead last in pretty much everything, so so just something, make sure, when she is out and about, separate from me, that, she doesn't potentially get raped and anything like that. And and only that, so if there was a fight going on between two different people, to ignore it, the other army will do, will break that up, like they should do. Your sole thing is to protect Rosary, and or me. So me and her are made together, and her when we're separated. And Jude should go, hi, Hokage-sama. And those you'd also start in one more thing, like say maybe you do, somewhat to start to teach her. You'd be somewhat best if you taught her by letting her do stuff. She learns faster by doing. So, yeah, that's what I've learnt doing those somewhat 3 weeks with her. That she learns by doing, or at least the best by doing. Yeah, so she's not only somewhat thankful for that information, and yeah, from there she'd leave as Hiruzen would somewhat dismiss her for sort about kind of a day or two to give her a rest and to spend time in her around her friends and family. And yeah, though after that, though minute or so later, Rosa would somewhat walk in. Yeah, as you could hear the faint sound of somewhat, or at least as Rosa would somewhat walk down to the living room, Hiruzen could hear the faint somewhat sound of somewhat heels clicking on the wood floor. And yeah, from what he somewhat had kind of done his own research on that, pretty much, or at least maids tended to have two different pairs of shoes, one indoors and one outdoors. So outdoors were only to be worn outside of the house, and another indoor ones which were only meant to be worn inside. So there was no kind of mud brought in, or dirt or anything like that from shoes that were have gone outside of the house. And yeah, though so from there, though, he'd hear somewhat seemingly Rosalie walk straight past, and would be with somewhat momentary wonder if she somewhat forgot where the living room was or that. But no, would sort of hear us, or at least would, or at least they sort of stop at the front of the door for seemingly putting down something. And yeah, he'd be confused because she put shoes down. Surely they were outside shoes, which you then go, maybe she also got some type of kind of running shoes as well. That would make sense. Yeah, for some amount of training that I do in her spare time. So yeah, that makes more sense. And yeah, a few seconds later, she would indeed sort of walk in. Though she of course wouldn't be in a French maid uniform, as she wasn't meant to be, or at least it'd be tomorrow, and she'd wake up, would have to do put on something would truly start. Today was just pretty much kind of just learning the home pretty much, and yeah, or at least the night and that. And yeah, and so from there, Hiruzen would somewhat ask, or at least she'd kind of walk in and would somewhat sit down, though, and yeah, so she'd somewhat have, of course, around, but reading on to educate herself better on how to better be somewhat a maid, as somewhat Lapid told her that if she wanted to potentially get shinobi training from Lord Third, she'd have to be the best maid she can be, which would mean learning still and actually somewhat reading to become the best maid she possibly could be. And yeah, though as a few seconds would go by, Hiruzen would ask her how how the 3 weeks had been, to which they'd start talking about that. And, yeah, though as Rosa would realise a few seconds later that the talk wasn't probably going to be ending anytime soon, she'd kind of or at least with one hand, kind of shut the book, though it was on the page in which he'd left off at. Yeah, though after telling her pretty much master what what the training was like and that, or at least what she'd been up to pretty much for the 3 weeks and that. Hiruzen then trying to tell her about pretty much science, it's kind of somewhat schedule, and yeah, to it science, but yeah, somewhat yeah. Yeah, Naruto would somewhat, well, Rosa would mentally be quite thankful. Naruto would be as, save them from asking asking his, the sort of routine, and yeah. Though after that, somewhat Hiruzen would sort of get up as he'd state that he'd sort of have his shower or his bath or that, and yeah, she'd sort of nod and though just as Hiruzen was somewhat, or at least just as Hiruzen would be sort of at the door to sort of the living room, she'd sort of or at least she'd remember and would sort of ask if he should go master, to which Hiruzen would kind of start, to which she'd go yes, Rosary. As he'd sort of turn to face her, to which she'd ask, do you need any sort of help in sort of washing it all? No, I'm fine. You don't need to help me. Sort of with that, to which she just nod, hi, master. And from there he'd sort of walk off to have his bath and that, and yeah. From there, once he'd out, he'd of course say that he was, and yeah, a few moments later she'd also have her own, and yeah, though from there she'd, of course, after sort of getting out and that, she'd put on, in sort of nightdress, and they'd sort of go back to the living room and would read for about another hour or so, before similarly, or at least somewhat, saying goodnight to one another and going somewhat to bed, as there really wasn't really anything to sort of do, and yeah, and so from there though, or at least somewhat one thing she did do when she was unpacking was set the alarm clock from, or at least whatever it was set at, which was 6:30 to 6. And yeah, she'd figured and now knew that it was indeed a master that had indeed set it to 6:30, which would give her about half an hour to kind of get ready and all, but she wanted to get up, at 6 instead. So that should have a few minutes, 20, say 10-20 minutes to have a run, sort of around the clan compound, the Saratobi clan compound, and do sort of that, and do it, sort of that, and then get back, very quick sort of wash, and then sort of get dressed, hopefully, and then which would then lead into sort of cooking breakfast at hopefully about 7 o'clock, and then half an hour later should be getting the fired up to sort of for breakfast and that, and yeah, yep. And so that's what she would indeed sort of do. The next morning at 6 o'clock she would sort of get up and would sort of after sort of or at least sort of go and sit down, go in the toilet and that, which was still a relatively odd feeling for sort of time, even after 3 weeks. Granted, 3 weeks she'd been bending down to go, pretty much go to toilet, like going poo in the wilderness, but now sort of she knew she had to pretty much sit down for both pee and poo, and likewise wipe, and yeah. Anyway, though, after sort of that, after kind of getting dressed into sort of a more, or at least somewhat more running gear sort of outfit, she would indeed somewhat kind of go, or at least would go to the front door, would slide on sort of running / jogging shoes, and would then do sort of a jog around sort of the clan compound for returning, doing a few push-ups, sit-ups and that, for then kind of re-entering, and then sort of having a sort of shower for then, and then sort of after that drying and going into sort of her room once more to properly prepare and get dressed in the maid's uniform, which would be sort of her first time properly wearing it. And yeah, and so after about half an hour, she'd be sort of ready in that and going to, and yeah, and so sort of she'd go to the kitchen and would sort of, from what they were talking sort of yesterday, periodically sort of, she sort of, or at least they'd gotten, or at least sort of somewhat know that the but did have a cookery, or at least somewhat a couple of different books on cooking in the kitchen for sort of the kind of humble latters when they sort of, if he was slightly, potentially running late, they'd be the ones to get him up and kind of cooking breakfast so he could, be at the, tower on time. And yeah, so ironically, the Ambu were, his pretty much personal maids and butlers and whatever, in a way. And yeah, in a way, those, they, of course, their main, thing was to obviously protect him, which they could now do a lot easier, as the maid part was now delegated to Naruto, or Rosary, which was now, or at least which would be, Hiruzen's personal maid for 4 years. And yeah, anyway, yeah, though half an hour later, she'd somewhat, or at least, though she'd find the cookery book and would look through it before finding, as it'd be a sort of a breakfast sort of cookery book, so different types of breakfasts. Breakfasts one a person could make. And yeah, she'd sort of look through it before finding one she sort of liked, which she'd, or at least, and yeah, though she'd shake her head, realising that she was cooking what she wanted and not what the third maid, the master may want. So after looking through it a bit more, she'd end up just deciding to do the one she chose, the one she kind of someone was wanting to somewhat do. And yeah, from half an hour would go by as she'd prepare and cook the thing. Yeah, though she'd sort of turn the food down, mainly to sort of keep it nice and warm, and she'd then go to, and yeah, she'd sort of enter her master's room, to which a master wouldn't even sort of wake up from her seemingly just entering his room. So sort of at that, and sort of looking around and not seeing any clothes out, just sort of sighs. That's what she'd firstly do, get his kind of outfit for the day sort of out, and once it was, she'd go over and would sort of open up the curtains, and with that still not awakening him, would try and wake him up, though, and after sort of failing for about a couple of minutes, would finally sort of decide would give up and would just proceed to slap him hard across the face, to get him to sort of open his eyes up and would allow a groan of pain. And he'd bring up a hand to sort of rub his cheek, and he'd ask why he kind of slapped him, and that hard, to which she stayed. Well, yeah, I did ask her if, go, Rosie, did you really have to, slap me that hard? Yes, Master, I did. I tried to wake you up different ways, but you didn't wake up, so it's the only option left. With Larry sort of kind of grown, it seemed like it'd be a pain for 4 years. And yeah, though unknown, or at least somewhat slightly unknown, unknown to him though, pretty much everyone in the clan compound heard that slap, as it was a hard slap, hard enough for it to pretty much be heard throughout pretty much nearly the entire clan compound. So yeah, and with them all being shinobi anyway, pretty much, they all heard it pretty much. And yeah, though after that, she'd tell him that breakfast was pretty much ready. Well, it would be ready within like the minute, so he had to get up. So she'd nod and yeah, and so he would. Though as he'd push himself up, he'd realise his clothes were on the dressing table, and yeah, though he'd fully get up and get out of bed and would start changing into his uniform before going into the bathroom to go to the toilet and wash his hands and that, before coming back out and going down to the dining room, and yeah, and so from there, Rosie, or at least about 25-30 seconds later, Rosie would come in with his food, as the table would already be kind of done. And yeah, though she'd of course put down his plate and she'd go around, yeah. Though just before as she'd turn around to leave, here's a minute to call her name out as she'd go, Rosie, which she'd stop. She'd go, she'd turn around, hi master. Is there any problem? No, it's just that, would you care to sit with me, would you care to sit with me and have breakfast with me? Really, master, but I'm just a maid. I'm sure. Rosary. And with those shoots, Nat would shake his head as he'd then bow and would thank him before getting up from the bow, and would go back into the kitchen once more and would bring her, this time, her food out, and a knife and fork to eat her breakfast. And yeah, from there, after sitting down, they would eat, and yeah, after finishing it though, they would, or at least Hiruzen would ask her how last night here was and that, and yeah. And yeah, they'd talk for a small bit, mainly, or at least, not for long, for about a minute or two, mainly to let the food go down and settle. Yeah, though after that she'd get up and would take his plate as well as her own, and would go and would wash it up. From there though, or at least as she was doing that, Hiruzen would gap himself and would would go and would put on his shoes and that, and would generally get ready to go over to the Hokage office to open it up and that for the day. And yeah, though once Rosie was finished doing washing up and that, she'd dry her hands before going over to the front door, would slide off her indoor shoes, leaving them on the, or at least on the top of the floor, on the wooden part of the floor, as it'd be somewhat of a single step. And yeah, as you then proceed to then slide on outdoor shoes, as from there they would sort of go and yeah, and sort of from there they would leave, and yeah, though as they'd sort of course walk, or at least once they'd sort of get outside the clan compound, you would sort of notice that Rosary would be sort of uncomfortable, which would make sense. Naruto would be, after all. And yeah, though they would sort of talk about kind of the, sort of, or at least Hiruzen would sort of ask her what she'd been kind of up to, this morning, to which she'd state that she woke up at 6, to which Hiruzen would go, you woke up at 6? I'm pretty sure I set your alarm clock to 6:30. She'd go, you did, master, but I did it to 6, so I had some time to, so I had some time somewhat for myself. And go, so then what did you do if you what did you sort of do, if you don't mind saying? Well, at least once I sort of got up and so I got dressed into some sort of running gear as I went for a jog around before doing some push-up sitters and that. After that I came back, sort of had a shower before, sort of course, then sort of got dressed in that before then looked through the cookery book in sort of the kitchen and after deciding on what would be sort of eating for breakfast, I proceeded to cook it. After that, and once it's time to get you up, I then sort of turned it down, went over and got out your clothes as I saw that you hadn't got it out the night before, and after doing so, opening the curtains and then proceeded to try and wake you up, master. Though, how was your sort of sleep? It's fine. It's been fine. Yeah. Though I sort of just have to kind of get used to sort of that I now kind of have a sort of maid. It's gonna get some time to get used to, not just a maid master, but I'm your personal maid. Right. And yeah, and so from there, they'd sort of arrive, or at least they'd kind of quiet down as they'd sort of just walk, through as they'd get to a, or at least as they'd slowly start to get to a more popular part of Konoha, as people would start, and the few people that were sort of up, starting to, set up their stores and or, shops, and that would, of course, greatly further and that, and yeah. Though they were, of course, somewhat surprised, to see him, with a maid walking alongside him. And yeah, though some didn't seem all that surprised, as they'd figured that he, being the fellow Kage, surely had, a maid. And yeah, after all, he wasn't just a fellow Kage, but also the clan head of the Sarutobi clan, so surely he must have a, maid or two. And yeah. And yeah, though if so, then of course they didn't see them before. Who knows? But yeah. Though from there, though, they would sort of arrive, and yeah, though sort of actually, or at least once they'd arrive to the sort of, yeah, though just as sort of Hiruzen would get out the way, just as Hiruzen would sort of be unlocking the door to the Hokage's tower, I sort of Rose would go, master, sort of kind of be heading off sort of now as you go, who, and why so? Some running low on some ingredients in the kitchen. And yeah, he'd go, I see. Though he'd sort of nod, and he'd go, well then, sort of I'll be here. Sort, and yeah, though once you do have, sort of having brought in that, and once they, all done and that, do, come by, and yeah. So, and so from there, basically spent the next 2 or so hours just getting pretty much some shopping and that. Yeah, after, getting that and going back and unloading before then heading back to the office and just somewhat walking in, and yeah, those who'd somewhat walk in with a somewhat book, I should go over into I should walk into the office, and then we'd go over to somewhat the couch in his office and we'd sit down and we'd just start reading, and yeah. And yeah, though from there Hiruzen would somewhat look back down and would somewhat like kind of sigh as he'd somewhat just really hated paperwork, and yeah. And with that, I'm going to end this part here, guys. So if you have enjoyed this part, do tell me in the comments down below, and of course, well, if you want part 2, do say, guys. And yeah, hello guys, hope you guys have a good day or night, depending on whatever you use and whenever you watch this. And good